Here we are, Balongan Beach in Bali. Small swell behind me, but it was a hell of a lot bigger last week. And last week was the first time in my life that I truly surfed double overhead. It was 10 feet of swell, and Balongan usually pushes it up a couple feet, so it's about 12-foot faces. I'm 6 foot, so there you go, double overhead. I wanted to record this video because in the months leading up to this, I was searching a lot for videos about how to surf bigger waves and how to surf double overhead in particular, and I couldn't really find anything. So I thought I'd share my experience now that I've done it. And I think this might be interesting for some people because I'm not like one of those Hawaiian kids or something. They grew up like surfing since they were 6 or whatever. I didn't actually learn to surf until I was 26. I'll put like a little picture in the video here of me on my yellow longboard. So that was 2 years ago. So basically it took 2 years to get to this point where I feel comfortable surfing double overhead. But I did it one time, so we'll see how the future is. But I've got 3 things here that I found to be very important leading up to this and making it a successful adventure. I've got my little list right here so I don't forget. So here we go. The first thing is that it is psychological. I think the thing we worry most about is the hold down, and so much of that is psychological. I think it is 70% psychological, 30% physical, your ability to endure the hold down. So for example, I'll take 2 examples here. About a month ago, I brought a watch into the water, and I just held my head underwater. How long could I do that? And it was like a minute 25 or a minute 30 or something. So 90 seconds I can hold my head underwater. I can hold my breath. And even on the biggest waves, I mean, we're not talking double 2-wave hold downs here, but even on like the biggest wave, like the 12-foot faces like they were here the other day, it's like 10, 11 second hold downs, maybe. I don't think I ever had a 15-second hold down. So you have to recognize that even on the very largest waves, the hold down is not actually that long. Now granted, I am sure there are exceptions. That is not a hard and fast rule. I am sure there are places that just drag you and that just hold you underwater, and it is super powerful, and we can't just live by these rules and assume that it'll always be 12 seconds. But I think that it's safe to say that in general, even the larger waves are like going to be 12 seconds, maybe 14 seconds, and it's going to be okay. So if you're going to hold your breath for 90 seconds, in a still setting, you should be able to do 14 seconds otherwise. So that's something. My other example is that in speaking on this psychological versus physical, sorry, there's ants crawling on me because this is Bali and there's ants everywhere. I would rather place my money on like a fat, out of shape guy, like some surfer who used to surf a whole lot in like big waves, and now he got really fat and out of shape, and he hasn't surfed in forever, and so his physical ability is shit, but his mental ability is really good. I would expect him to do much better in very large waves versus like some Olympic athlete, like some, like Lance Armstrong, but if Lance Armstrong's really scared of waves and he gets freaked out easily. Like, I just think that the psychological part is so much more important. And so how do you train for that? You just go in bigger and bigger and bigger waves. Like, I've been leading up to this point. I've been doing, when I first came to Bali, it was mostly like 6 or 7 foot face. That was the biggest I would go. Then 8 foot, then 9 foot, then 10 foot. And everything in between, and you just cycle through it, and you have a whole shitload of hold downs, and you start to realize, okay, this is what it's all about. It's okay, I'll survive this. So psychological, gotta realize that. Second part is the physical. What has helped me a lot has been yoga. I have been doing yoga about 5 days a week for 6 months now, and I think that has helped me quite a bit. So you combine yoga with lots of surfing and you're good to go. And of course, any other exercise, anything that strengthens your lungs. But that much is obvious, so I'm just going to skip that point. So that's number 2. We had psychological, physical is number 2. Number 3 on my list here is equipment. When you go out to surf double overhead for the first time, you want to have the best equipment you can possibly get. So my equipment for doing this was I had a 7.6 semi-gun made by an Australian with a fatty stringer. It's a 1/4 inch stringer. It looks like trim around a house or something, and a strong glass job, and it's 3 inches thick. So I'm thinking, double overhead, no way this thing snaps, and it didn't. And I also had a stay covered leash. I don't know, this is totally plugging them. I get nothing in return, but stay covered leash, amazing. I have never had another leash like it. It looks like you could hang a motorcycle up by it. So going out there with really good equipment so that when you're in the impact zone, when the shit hits the fan, because it's going to, you can feel totally confident in that. You really, really want to be able to trust your equipment. Now, as you get experience doing this, I mean, probably guys like Nathan Florence or John, whatever the fuck his name is, Kelly Slater, they probably don't give a fuck. They go out there, their board snaps, their leash snaps, and double overhead. They're like, fuck, and then they swim to shore, and it's not a big deal because they're so comfortable with it. But if you're just getting into this, it really pays to have the absolute best equipment you can. And for a surfboard, that comes down to a really good blank. In Bali here especially, a lot of the names like the Channel Island and the Paisel boards and the Lost boards, they are made out of not good blanks and they snap easily. And so I would rather have a board made by a local shaper, or someone, I just want to see the blank. I want to know that it's a good quality blank, because I think that's really what matters here. You can put the best glassing job and the most beautiful bottom contours on like some piece of shit blank, and it doesn't matter. It's just gonna snap when you get into bigger waves. So make sure you got a good blank. So those are kind of my 3 things here. Psychological, you get used to it over time. You recognize that the hold downs are not actually that bad. Physical, you train for it, doing yoga, doing lots of surfing, doing other exercise. 3, equipment. You get the best fucking equipment, and then when it's on, you go out there. My final little note on the bottom here is you don't look back. Man, when you're out there and you get yourself into the position you want, you find your position and you just paddle and you don't fucking look back, because if you do, you're gonna do that gay fucking thing where you pick your head up and it goes over, and then maybe it just catches you anyways and you get tumbled and you look like a retard. No, you pick your spot. Once you're ready for it, you just paddle and you don't look back. And when you feel it start to pick you up, you paddle even fucking harder. You just commit. You commit to that motherfucker and you go. And you have a lot of fun. And so yeah, doing this last week was an absolute blast. It felt so good for me. It felt like a validation of everything I've been trying to do for like the last 9 months since I came to Bali. Was surf those big waves, and so it was super, super cool for me to do, and I hope you get that experience too. And so this is Balangan, and if you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments below. I will probably reply.